Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today we are reading from Nectar of Instruction, written by I forgot his name. Oh, sorry. Uh, who is it? Who was it written by? I forgot. Nectar of Instruction was written by Srila Rupa Goswami. Yeah. Srila Rupa Goswami. It was written by Srila Rupa Goswami, a great Vaishnava. Okay, let's start with text 1. Okay, Nectar of Instruction 1. Vāco-vegam, vāca-vegam, manasaḥ krodha-vegaṁ, ji, ji, jihvā-vegam, udara-upastha-vegam, etān vegan, ya viṣaheta dhīraḥ, sarvām apīmāṁ pṛthivīṁ śiṣyāt. Okay. Translation: a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind, demand, the actions of anger and urges of the tongue, belly, and gen, genit, genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Okay, that's actually here. What is it written? Uh, yeah, this is the uh, qualifications that a guru should have. If you are making a guru, if you are making a guru, he should have these qualifications to make disciple all over the world. In Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, 6, canto 6, text 1, sloka 9 to 10. Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Sukadeva Goswami. Before Sukadeva Goswami, one of the question was, why do people undergo uh, and at atone atonement if they cannot control their senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for stealing, and he may even see a thief arrested by a police, yet he steals. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. And when an intelligent person hears from the law books and the shastras or the scriptures, the stealing is that is stealing is not good. That stealing is not good, and hears that a thief is punished when arrested. He ref- refrains from theft. A less intelligent person may have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may be may have experience experience of both of hearing and seeing, and may be punished, but still he continues to steal. But even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit the theft as soon as he comes out of the jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, the benefit of such atonement, thus Pariksit Maharaj inquired, Drashtasrutavyam yat papam janan atmohitam kar ka करोति भूयो विवशा पर्यसितम् अथो कटं निवर्ते वन्दत् कवचिच्चक्तिर् तत् पुनः प्रायश्चितम् इतो पार्थं मन्ये कुञ्जरसुच्यवत्. He compared atonement atonement to a elephant to an elephant's breathing. A elephant may take a very nice bath in a river, but as soon as he comes out to the bank of river, it throws all the dirt out of his body. When, when, what then is the value of bathing? Similarly, when spiritual practi- practitioners chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and at the same time commit many forgiven things, thinking their chanting will contract their offenses, counteract their offenses of 10 types of offenses one can commit while chanting the holy name. The offense is called Namo Balad Namno Balad Yasya Hi Papa Buddhinihi. Committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Similarly, Similarly, certain Christians go to church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from results of their weekly sins. As soon as Saturday is over and Sunday comes, they again begin their sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven next Sunday, a Saturday. A kind of prayasita or and and atos, uh, atonement is commended by Parikshit Maharaja, the most intelligent king of this time. Sukadeva Goswami equally intelligent as belief be befitting the spiritual master of Maharaja Parikshit answered the king and confirmed that this statement concerning atonement was correct. A sinful activity cannot be contracted by a pious activity. Thus, real para- prayasikta atonement is the awakening of demorment Krishna consciousness. Real atonement involves coming to real knowledge, and for this there is a standard process where one where one follows a regulated hygienic process. He does not fall sick. A human being is not meant to be trained according to the certain principles to receive his original knowledge, such as a myth, methodical life is described as tapasya. Methodical life is described as tapasya. Eh, one can gradually if elevated to standard of real knowledge or Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy. Celibacy. Okay. Brahmacharya by controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possessions in charity, by being avowedly truthful, by keeping clean, and by practicing yoga asanas. However, if one is fortunate enough to get a association of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the majestic yoga process, simply by following the regulated principle of Krishna consciousness. Refrain, ref, refrain, refraining from illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. And by engaging in the service of Supreme Lord under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, this is the easy process uh, recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. Okay, all right. Okay, first, one must control his speaking power. Every one of us has the power of speech. As soon as we get an opportunity to begin to opportunity there you go, opportunity, we begin to speak. If we don't, if we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we uh, we speak about all sorts of nonsense or toad in a field speaks by croaking, and similarly everyone who has tongue wants to speak, even if all he has to say is nonsense. The croaking of a toad, however, simply invites the snake. Please come over and eat me. Um, Nevertheless, although it is inviting death, the the toad goes on croaking. The taking of materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers may be concerned, uh, may be compared to the croaking of the frogs. They are always speaking nonsense and thus inviting death to catch them. Controlling speech, however, does not mean self imposed silence, the eternal process of mauna. As Mayavadi philosophers think, silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proves a failure. The meaning of a controlled speech is conveyed by Srila Rupa Goswami advocates the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging in speaking in in glorifying the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The tongue can thus glorify the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond clutches of death. This is significance of controlling urge to think, to speak. Restless of flick, flick, flickless of mind, Namo Vega, is control when one can fix his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22.31 says, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakara Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Mayara Adhikara. Krishna is like a sun and Maya is like darkness. If sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Similarly, if Krishna is present in the mind, there is no possibility of the mind being agitated, agitated by Maya's influence. The yogic process of neglecting all the material thoughts to not to help, uh, not to help, not to help to create a vacuum in the mind is artificial. The vacuum is will not remain. However, if one thinks of Krishna and how to serve Krishna best, one mind will be naturally controlled. We're gonna copy this. This is little bit important. Okay, let me just copy it real quick. Okay, this is important. Let's just copy it. Okay, let's go. Okay. Similarly, anger can be controlled. We cannot stop anger altogether, but if we simply become angry with those who bis bisfame bisfame blaspheme him fame the Lord, or the devotees of the Lord, we control the anger in Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya became angry when the magnificent brothers Jagai and Madai, who blasphemed and stuck Nityananda Mahaprabhu in his in his Sistastaka. Chaitanya Lord Chaitanya wrote, Tirnadapi Sunichena Karorapi Sahisnuna. One should be humbler than grass, and more tolerant than the tree. One may ask the Lord exhibited his anger. The point is that one should be ready to tolerate all the insult to oneself. But in Krishna or pure devotee, best famed, a genuine devotee becomes angry and acts like fire against offenders. Kro- Krodha, anger cannot be stopped, but but it can be applied rightly. But it can be applied rightly. It was anger that Hanuman set fire in Lanka, but he's worshipped as the greatest devotee of Lord Ramachandra. This means that he utilized his anger in the right way. Arjuna Arjuna serves as another example. He's not willing to fight, but Krishna incited his anger. You must fight. To fight without anger is not possible. Anger is control. However, when utilized in uh, the service of Lord, uh, okay, as the urges of the tongue, we all experience that the tongue wants to eat palatable dishes. Generally, we should not allow the tongue to eat according to its choice, but should control the tongue, supplying prasada. The devotee's attitude is that he will eat only when Krishna gives him prasadam. When that is the way to control the urge of the tongue. Uh, One should take prasada at a scheduled times and should not eat in restaurants and sweet meat shops simply to satisfy the whims of the tongue or belly. If we stick to the principle of taking only prasada, the urges of the belly and tongue can be controlled. In similar manner, the urges and the genitals, the sex impulse, can be I'm sorry, can be controlled when not used unnecessarily. The genitals should be used to beget a Krishna conscious child. Otherwise, they should not be used. The Krishna conscious movement encourages marriage is not for satisfaction for the genitals, but for begetting Krishna consciousness child. As soon as the children are grown up, they are sent to Gurukula school, where they are trained to become fully Krishna conscious. May such Krishna consciousness child May such Krishna conscious children are required, and one who is capable for bringing forth Krishna consciousness of offspring is allowed to utilize his genitals. When one is fully practiced in the methods of Krishna consciousness control, he can become qualified to a bona fide spiritual master. In this uh, anu va, anuvati explanation of Upadesamrit, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, our material identification creates three kinds of urges: the urge to speak, urge of or the urge or the demands of the mind and demands of the body. When a living being entirely falls victim to these types of urges, this his life becomes inauspicious. One who practice resting these demands or urges is tapasvi, or one who practices austerities. But such tapasya one can overcome victimization by the material energy, the external potency of the supreme personality of Godhead. When we refer to urge to speak, we refer only to only useless talking, such as that of the impersonal Mayavadi philosophers, or the person engaged in fruitive activities, technically called karma kanda, or materialistic people who simply enjoy their life without restriction. All such talks or literatures are practical exhibition of the urge to speak. Many people are talking non, nonsensically and writing volumes of useless books, and all this result of the urge to speak. To consult his tendency, we have we have to divert our thinking to subject of Krishna. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 5, sloka 10 and 11. Nad Nadya Dvanchas Chitra Na Nanyad Vanchas Chitra Padam Harer Yashoja Pitram Paranita Kiricha Chachit Tadvansam Titham Unis Mansa Nayatra Hamsam Nitramai Usik Kris Krasya. The words which do not describe the glories of Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the universe, are considered by saintly person to be like the place of pilgrimage for crows. Hmm. Since all perfect persons are inhabitants of transcendental amount, they do derive any pleasure. They do not derive any pleasure there. Okay. Tad Tadvag visargo visargo janataga ata vilvo yasmin prapti sulokam adan virti ada api tia apta api namne an anantasya yaso niktinyat sarvanti gyanti garyanti gananti sadavaha. One, on the other hand, that literature which is full of description of the transcendental glories, name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc. The unlimited Supreme Lord different, is a different creation full of transcendental words, uh, transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard and sung, and affected by purified men who are truly honest, thro- truly honest, th- thoroughly honest. The conclusion is that only when we talk about devotional service to the supreme, uh, to the to the supreme personality of Godhead, we refrain from honest nonsensical talk. We should always endeavor to use our speaking powers slowly, slowly, for purpose of releasing Krishna consciousness. As for agitations of flickering mind, they are divided into two divisions. The first is aviroha priti, or unrestricted attachment, and other is viroga yukta anger arising from frustration, the and and adherence to the philosophy of the Mayavadis believe in the fruitive results of the Karmavadis, and believe in plans based on materialistic desires called avirodaha priti, janis, karmis, and materialistic plan makers generally attract the attention of considered souls. But when materialists cannot fulfill their plans and will and when when their devices are frustrated, they become angry. Frustration of the material desires produces anger. Similarly, the demands of the body can be divided into three categories: demands of tongue and the belly and genitals. One may observe that these three senses are physically situated in a straight line. As far as the body is concerned, and that is body demands begins with the tongue. One of the restraint demands of the tongue by limiting activities, uh, by by limiting its activities to taking of prasada. The urges of the belly and genitals are automatic can be controlled. In the connection, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says sarira avidya jala dehen riya tehe kala जीवा फैले विशेष सागरे तार मध्य जीवाति लोभमय सुदुर्मति ताके जे ताकड़िन संसारे कृष्ण बड़ दयामय करिबारे जीवा जय सा प्रसादन दीर्घ सयन मृत पाव राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेम डाकुशी चैतन्य जय निमाय डाकुशी चैतन्य। O Lord, the material body, a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths leading to death. Somehow uh, uh, or other, we have fallen into the ocean of material sense enjoyment and the senses. The tongue is most voracious and uncontrollable. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world. But you, dear Krishna, are very kind to us. You sent this nice prasada to help us conquer the tongue. Therefore, let us take the prasada to our full satisfaction and glory your lordships, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, and fall in love. Call for help of Lord Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. These are six kind of rasas, tastes, and if one is agitated by any one of them, he becomes controlled by urges of the tongue. Some persons are attracted to eating meat, fish, crabs, eggs, and other things produced by semen, and blood and eaten in the form of dead bodies. Others are attached by eating vegetables, creep, creepers, yeah, the creepers, Spanish or milk, spinach or milk, but all the satisfaction of the tongue for for all the satisfaction of the tongue demands, such as for sense gratification, including the use of extra qualities of spices like chili and tamarind, rind, is to give is to be given up by Krishna conscious uh, people. The use of uh, pan, harit ki, betel nuts, various spices used in pan making, tobacco, LSD, marijuana, uh, opium, liquor, coffee, tea is indul- indulged in fulfill illicit demands. If we can practice accepting only remains food offered to Krishna, it is possible to get free from Maya, uh, victimization, victimization. Vegetables, grains, and fruits, milk produce, and water are proper foods offered to offer to Krishna as as Lord Krishna himself prescribes. However, if one accepts prasada only because it is of its palatable taste, and thus eats too much, he also falls prey to trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to avoid very palatable dishes even while eating prasada. If we offer palatable dishes to the deity with intention of eating such a nice food, we are involved in trying to satisfy demands of the tongue. If we accept the invitation of a rich man with the idea of receiving palatable food, we are not trying to satisfy the demand. We are trying to satisfy the demand of the tongue. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, chapter 6, verse 227, it is stated, जीवेर लस्य से yi iti uti dhaya sinyo dhara paryena Krishna nahi paya. The one, the person who runs here and there seeking to gratify his palate, and who is attached to the desires of his stomach and genitals, is unable to attain Krishna. As stated before, the tongue, belly, and genitals all are situated in a straight line, and they fall in some category. Lord Chaitanya said, "Bala na bhala na khaibe, ara bhala na paibe." Do not dress luxury luxuriously, and do not eat delicious food stuff. Chaitanya Charitamrita Ante Leela, chapter 6, verse 236. Uh, those who suffer from diseases of the stomach must be able to control urges of the belly. All this according to analysis. When we desire to eat more than necessary, we automatically create many inconveniences in life. However, if we observe fasting like Ekadasi and Janmashtami, we retain the demands of the belly. We can restrain the demands of as far as the urges and genitals are concerned. There are two: proper and improper, or illegal and illicit sex. When a man is properly mature, he can marry according to the rules and regulations of the Shastra and use his genitals for begging nice, nice, begetting, not begging, begetting nice children, that is legal and religious. Otherwise, he may adopt artificial means to satisfy demands of the genitals. He may not use any uh, restriction, or when one indulges in illicit sex, indulges in illicit sex are defined by shastras either by thinking, planning, thinking about actually having a sexual intercourse, or satisfying genitals by artificial means. He is caught in the clutches of Maya. The instruction these instruction apply not only to householders but also uh, tyagis, or those who are renounced order of life. In the book Prema Vivrata, 7th chapter, Sri Jayananda Jaga Ja, Jagadananda Pandita says, okay, वैरागी भाई ग्रमस्य कथा न सुनिबे कने गर्मस गर्म्य व्रत न कहिबे यवे मिलिबे आने सवपने उनाकार भाई स्त्री स्त्री संभाषण गृहे स्त्री चढ़ दिया भाई असी याच वना यदि यदि च प्रणय न न कहिते गौरंगेर सने छोटा हरिदासेर कथा थके थके ये न मने भला न खाइबे अर भला न पारिबे हृदय हृदयते कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण सर्वेद से भाई बे dear my dear brother, are you are in a renounced order of life, and one should not listen and talk about ordinary worldly things, nor should you talk about the worldly things. When you meet with others, do not think of women in the dreams. You have accepted the renounce of the order. Woe forbids you you forbids to associate with you wish to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You must remember the incident of Chota Haridas, who how he was rejected by the Lord. He do not eat luxurious dresses or dresses in fine garments, but always remain humble, serve their lordship Sri Sri Radha Krishna in your heart of hearts. In the conclusion, okay, in the conclusion is that one who can control six items: speech, mind, and anger, tongue, belly, genitals, to be called Swami or Goswami. Swami means master, and Goswami means master of the go or senses. The one one accepts the renounced of the life, he automatically assumes the title of Swami. This does not mean the master of this family, community, or society. He must be master of his senses. Unless one is the master of his senses, he should not be called Goswami or Godasa, servant of the senses. Following in the footsteps of six Goswamis of Vrindavana, all Swamis and Goswamis should fully engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord. As opposed to this, to this, the Godasas engage in the service of the of the senses, in the service of the material world. They have no no other engagement. Prahlada Maharaj has further described describe the Godasa as Adanta go, which refers the one whose senses are not controlled. As Adanta go cannot become the service, Adanta go cannot be servant of the Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj has said, Matir na Krishna parata sarvova mityo viparida gina vratam andata go birbistam times tamisram puras puna puras sarvita sarnam. For those who have described their existence in this material world for gratification of their senses, there is no chance of becoming Krishna conscious by actually, uh where was I? Krishna consciousness, becoming Krishna not by personal endeavor, but by instruction from others and or by joint conferences. They are dragged by unbridled senses into darkest region of ignorance, and thus they merely engage in what is called chewing and chewed. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hरे हरे. 3 मिनट धेरै लागे पनि आजको क्लास यही समाप्त भएको छ. हरे कृष्ण माताजी.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी.
धन्न हजुर त आउनु भएछ, म त कोही नै आउन सकिरह.